Hello, I'm teaching AP Precalculus this year, and I'm guessing since you're watching this video, you probably are too. I just finished my 17th year teaching high school math, starting my 18th year. I've been an AP Calculus teacher for 9 years and an AP reader for the last 4 years, which I highly recommend. And through my experience as an AP reader, this past year I became an AP Precalculus consultant. So I've been spending some weeks this summer helping other teachers around the country learn the AP Precalculus curriculum and some tips along the way. And I thought that I would start a video series to share some of the things I've learned. With that said, everything that I'm saying in my video series is my own personal opinion and not the opinion of College Board. So this video is going to revolve around pacing. It's summertime right now, and I'm thinking about how I'm going to be setting up my class and what units are going to fall at what time of the year, etc. And I thought that maybe as a new AP Pre-Calculus teacher, maybe you were looking for some guidance in that. So the first thing that I'd like to say is when you're pacing out this class, you really need to consider what units in AP Precalculus you're going to include in your curriculum. So if you haven't looked at the curriculum before, there are actually 4 units in AP Precalculus, but only the first 3 units are tested on the exam. Topics in Unit 4 include vectors, parametric equations, and matrices. So you definitely want to discuss this with your school district, check out your state standards, and make a decision based on the type of students in your classroom and where they're going after this AP Pre-Calculus course, which, if any, topics in Unit 4 you're going to include. However, the AP Pre-Calc exam only covers units 1 through 3. So after you've made that decision, then we're going to take a look at the course and exam description and talk about how many weeks you should plot or plan for each of those topics. So once you've decided which topics in Unit 4, if any, you'd like to embed into your curriculum, then it's time to get out your lesson planner. Some of you are using Google Calendar, some of you use online systems like Planbook, and some of you are using the good old-fashioned paper and pencil book. Whatever you use, turn to May 13th, 2024, and put a big red dot on it because that is the day of the AP Precalculus exam. It's also the day of the AP Calculus exam. AP Calculus in the morning, AP Precalculus in the afternoon. So that's Monday, May 13th, 2024. Now, the week preceding our AP Precalc exam is the first week of AP exams in general. I don't recommend doing any active review that week because you'll have a lot of students that are absent or studying for other AP exams. So that really makes May 3rd your last day in class with your students where you can actively be reviewing with them. So starting from May 3rd, I would recommend that you set aside at least 2 to 3 weeks to review for the AP Pre-Calc exam. Now, calculus teachers, I know what you're thinking out there. We usually like to set aside the entire month of April up through the AP Calculus exam for review. I hear you, and I do that as well. But for AP Precalculus, the free response questions are much more skill-based, and I really don't think that you're going to need as much time reviewing with your students as you do with the AP Calculus exam. So that said, thinking about May 3rd as being the last day of review with your students, go back 2 or 3 weeks, and that's going to be your last day of new content instruction. So mark that in your planner as well. And then go to the beginning of the school year, and let's take a look at the course and exam description. Here is what the CED looks like. You can find this online if you just search AP Precalculus CED. There's a downloadable version that College Board has published for us. So if you go to page 26 in the AP Precalc CED, you will find the course at a glance. Here is a listing of the 4 units in the course. along with each of the learning objectives and many other valuable things, which I'm sure I'll talk about in other videos. But for now, what I'd like for you to focus on is at the top of each unit, there's a time frame. So you can see at the top of Unit 1, there's a listing here of 6 to 8 weeks. And the same with Unit 2, a listing of 6 to 9 weeks, and the other units as well. So this is not really vague. What this is meant to convey to you is that if you are planning to include all the topics in Unit 4 throughout your school year, then you probably want to plan the smaller amount of weeks for each of the units. So Unit 1, 6 weeks, Unit 2, 6 weeks, Unit 3, approximately 7 weeks, and then you'd have 7 weeks left over for Unit 4. If you are planning on including content just from units 1 through 3, then you are going to be able to use the larger time frame here. So about 8 weeks for Unit 1, 9 weeks for Unit 2, 10 weeks for Unit 3, and then, of course, no weeks for Unit 4. So go back to the beginning of your calendar and just roughly block out the amount of weeks per unit that is suggested in the CED. Now, after you've done that, and I'm assuming that you've already taken out weeks of holiday break or professional development days, etc. After you've blocked the number of weeks that you'll need, now I also want you to think about assessment. Listed in the CED are progress checks that occur midway through each of the units. And these are places that it's suggested you might want to stop for assessment. So definitely there are places for progress checks, and they align with formative assessments available in AP Classroom. Because we don't live in a perfect world, we know that, sometimes things happen, particularly long breaks where we want an assessment before that break. For instance, like students are off for several days at Thanksgiving or for holiday break or for spring break, etc. So make sure that you put in time for assessments that work for you. So now if you look at page 36 in the CED, this is going to drill down for you a little bit more specifics about how many instructional periods for each learning objective. So this is the unit at a glance for Unit 1. There's one in the CED for all 4 of the units. But if you look here, you'll see for each topic or learning objective, the suggested amount of instructional periods. Now, these are based on a traditional 45 or 50-minute lesson. So if you're planning for block scheduling, I would say that 2 instructional periods would probably equal 1 instructional period for you. When you see a particular learning objective that has, like in this case, 2 to 3 instructional periods, again, remember, it will be the smaller number if you're planning to include all of Unit 4, the larger number if you are not planning to include Unit 4. So if I were just planning for Units 1 through 3, then I would plan 3 instructional periods for Learning Objective 1.5. If I were including all 4 units, I would plan on 2 instructional periods. And again, that's based on a 45 to 50-minute lesson daily. So from there, you should be good to go. Once you have everything planned, though, remember that we don't live in a vacuum. Sometimes things happen. Absences, illnesses, different things happen in school, etc. So try to stick to your plan, but be good to yourself and be good to your students. Please subscribe to my YouTube channel. I hope to put a video out about once a week throughout this inaugural year of AP Precalculus. Remember, we're all in it together. Good luck. Enjoy the rest of your summer, and we'll see you soon.